presentation of Fox Sports.
We are Baltimore. We are Minnesota.
It has been a fantastic start to the season for Ervin Santana. He has been absolutely dominant this season, giving up just 2 earned runs in 28 innings. Tonight, Santana hopes to keep things rolling here in Arlington, and he hopes to get a lot of support from the offense, too. 3 things to know about this Twins offense. The team leads all of baseball in walks, and Miguel Sano individually tops in the American League. Robbie Grossman is the AL leader in on-base percentage, and Eddie Rosario has a hit in 7 straight games. That is the 4th longest hitting streak right now in the big leagues. The Twins got great pitching, great defense, and timely hitting last night. They'll try to put that same recipe together tonight in Game 2 against the Rangers. Twins baseball on Fox Sports North is presented by State Farm. And good evening once again from Arlington. I'm Marnie Gellner. Last night, the Twins took another 6 walks, and that gives them 85 walks for the season. That's 5 more than any other team in the major leagues. The bases were loaded in the 5th inning from 3 of those walks. And Brian Dozier stepped to the plate, and he cleared the bases with a double to left center field. Dozier said last night that he was waiting for an off-speed pitch. He got an off-speed pitch, and he drove it to the gap. Dozier has done some damage too over the plate, or at the plate in the last few years. He leads all of second basemen in base hits and home runs since 2015. He had that 42 home run season last year. 2nd in runs, 3rd in RBI. His bat has been very important in the Twins lineup. He was responsible for the only 3 runs that the Twins got in their game last night here in Arlington, and that was enough. Tonight, though, the Twins would like to get a little more offense, although Dick Bramer and Burt Blyleven, they may not need it, considering the starter they have tonight in this game.
Ervin Santana has been outstanding, Marnie. He's got the best ERA in the major leagues. But this is an extended run for Santana that goes back to last year, the likes of which Twins fans haven't seen since Johan Santana did it more than 10 years ago.
Well, I'll tell you what, Ervin Santana has been fantastic. You go back to early July of last year, his last 19 starts, a combined 2.01 ERA. And if you look at the names on that list, unbelievable names. So Santana has been a big part of kind of putting this pitching staff for Neil Allen and Paul Molitor together. He's off to a great start, great example of someone that wants to go out there and compete. And look at the names. I mean, you got Lester, you got Scherzer, you got Verlander, you got Kluber. You got 4 very good pitchers, and who's on top? Ervin Santana.
Well, the Twins might have played their tidiest ball game of the year last night. They played well in the field, as Marnie said. Got a big clutch hit from Brian Dozier, pitched well enough to win. And now they have their ace on the mound, Ervin Santana. The Twins have an early chance here to wrap up this series in Texas, where they won a series last year. Game 2 coming up in a moment.
Brian Dozier, he's great to have in the clubhouse as well. You get what you see.
Good leader, one of the leaders from the clubhouse.
Another veteran, another leader that I try to pick knowledge from.
He's a great guy, even better teammate.
Great teammate and always there and speaks up when he has to, and you know, that's what you look for in a leader.
Well, Brian Dozier got an awfully big hit. You could argue, I suppose, one of the biggest hits of his career in the minds of many. I think probably a bigger hit than any of the 42 home runs last year because of where the hit came, what it meant to a team that's trying to get back to the 500 mark and then above. The Menards batting order for the Twins in Game 2 has Dozier in the leadoff spot again. Max Kepler batting second, then Miguel Sano, Joe Mauer, Jorge Polanco, Jason Castro, Kenny Vargas, Eddie Rosario, and Byron Buxton.
And the Twins lineup be facing 30-year-old Andrew Cashner. Cashner, basically a Texas native, just born north of Houston area. Just signed a one-year contract with the Texas Rangers as a free agent back in November, making his first career start and appearance against the Twins organization.
Northland Ford defense for the Rangers. Ryan Rua getting the start in left field. Former Twin Carlos Gomez is out there in center. Nomar Mazara in right. Joey Gallo in third. Andres and Odor up the middle. Napoli at first and Lucroy back behind the plate. Chad Fairchild, the home plate umpire. David Rackley at first. Chris Siegel at second. Last night's home plate umpire who was in the crosshairs of a lot of people here in Arlington, Texas, figuratively. Alfonso Marquez is at third. Seem to have a very fluid strike zone, shall we say. Twins and Rangers series on Fox Sports North is presented by Jeep. Visit Jeep.com to learn more.
That goes both ways a lot of times, Dick. And Jeff Bannister ended up getting thrown out, the manager of the Rangers, because you know, he was kind of fed up by, you know, the strike zone he thought was a little bit on the wild or wide side. So that's happened yesterday, and today's a new ball game.
And Brian Dozier will lead things off. And Dozier takes down and away, ball one.
Got a report on Cashner. He's basically a fastball pitcher, good hard slider, and a changeup. They say his slider sometimes look like a curveball.
2-0. His numbers in the National League kept going up every year, and now he'll try his fortunes in the American League with the designated hitter. And he starts Dozier 3-0.
Yeah, falls behind right here, making just his third start, his second start here in Arlington.
That's not a good way to start. A 4-pitch walk. And that'll bring up Max Kepler, who didn't play in the ball game last night. He came into the game late defensively, but boy, did he pile up some numbers against the Rangers last year.
Boy, look at the 15 runs batted in. And with the 4 home runs, he has 8 career home runs, 4 of them against the Texas Rangers. So, yeah, Max Kepler had a very good, solid season against the Rangers last year.
And he'll stand in here with Dozier at first, a threat to steal, and he goes on the very first pitch, and he's thrown out. It looked like he spun his wheels a little bit, leaving first base, and Lucroy throws him out.
Yeah, Brian leads the Twins with stolen bases with 5, but they've been caught for the second time. Lucroy with a good, strong throw to second to get Dozier for the first out. So walked on 4 pitches, and the 5th pitch toward home plate, he gets thrown out.
I guess he didn't spin his wheels. Just didn't get there in time. Good throw by Lucroy. The pitch called a ball to Kepler. 6 in a row out of the strike zone for Andrew Cashner. And going to call Lucroy out and ask him where home plate is. Yeah, Kepler hit his best against 2 of the better pitching staffs, 2 teams that ended up going to the playoffs, the Rangers and then of course the Cleveland Indians as well. Had a 3 home run game against Cleveland. My goodness. 3-0.
Cashner, a big man, 6'6", about 235. They have him listed at.
And a strike, 3-1.
They found it, and the fans let him know.
And now 3-2.
For Cashner, most of his career with the San Diego Padres, he did come up with the Cubs when he first came to the big leagues.
Oh! Kepler tossed the bat away and was 2 steps out of the batter's box. And Chad Fairchild calls strike 3. And Paul Mahler hoping we don't have a repeat of what happened last night.
Let's see if this fastball is.
It was well inside.
Dead inside.
And you can see Lucroy, who's got the same reputation Jason Castro has in terms of being able to steal a pitch or two, brought the glove in, and the Rangers got the call. Here's Sano. Ball 1. It's just early, but it sure seems, Bert, like the strike zones have been less consistent this year than they've been in many years. At least that's the way it's looked.
Well, I talked to somebody before the game about that, Dick, and you know, we have the Fox tracks, and we show you where the pitches are if they're outside, like that ball to Kepner right there. But I'm telling you, every umpire has their own strike zone. You know, we can talk about the box all we want, but even like, you know, Marquez last night, he was giving the ball away about an inch or two.
Now there's the strike zone as it is in the rule book, and right at the knees, and now in the dirt.
You know, I pitched a lot of time, a lot of years, and when they had just the American League umpires or National League umpires, and you knew what that umpire would give you and he wouldn't give you. And you can say that, and we didn't have the Fox track, but I guarantee you there were certain umpires that would give you more away than they would in. But it's just their nature, because where they set up. Fairchild is sitting over Lucroy's left shoulder. So sometimes on that ball away, they will give you a couple inches.
Full count to Sano. Second walk of the inning, and that'll bring up Mauer. Sano's 18th walk.
Yeah, that leads the American League in base on balls. So find a way to get on. Sano, even though the average is down, still able to get on base.
Robbie Grossman has 15 walks, and Sano and Grossman are numbers 1 and 2 in the American League. Grossman not in the lineup, but look where the Twins are in Major League Baseball. Here's Mauer. And there's a first pitch strike. I guess a rebuttal to what you said about the strike zone is the whole intent of using the technology is to make the strike zone more consistent than it's been.
Yeah, I mean, baseball would like to do that, but again, each umpire has their own, and they do get graded after a ball game, you know, whether they feel they called a good game or not.
Ahead of Mauer now 0-2. Up and away. Been a long first inning for Cashner, and no one's put the ball in play yet.
Yeah, 19 pitches, only 7 over the plate.
Now a drive to right center field, a base hit. Sano round second. He'll go to third. Cutting it off is Mazzara. And the Twins get a 2-out base hit. Be the first swing of the inning. And it's a base hit for Mauer, sending Sano to third.
Well, about letter high to Joe, and he just hits it sharply up the middle. And with 2 outs, Sano scoots over to third.
And now Polanco hitting fifth. Polanco from the start of the season has hit toward the back end of the middle of the Twins lineup.
He's driven in 10 runs. As a left-handed hitter, the average lower than from the right side, hitting only .216. A chance to pick up a ribby or two here.
And now here comes Doug Brocail, the pitching coach, and Lucroy to the mound.
Cashner coming off a very good start in his last start just 5 days ago against the Kansas City Royals. Here he worked 6 shutout innings. Got a no decision.
Even with the caught stealing and the strike on what looked to be ball 4, the Twins have a chance to cash in here in the first inning. Strike call. 1-1. Outside, 2-1. He is really fighting his control.
Cashner over his career, used as a starter and a reliever. He has 31 wins, big league wins, 54 losses. This is his 112th major league start.
3-1.
And that mound is tilted for the big man.
Parts of a couple years with the Cubs. And then most of his career with the Padres. Finished last year with the Marlins, but all his career having been spent in the National League. Control really not much of an issue for him. About 3 walks per 9 innings pitched. 25th pitch of the inning. Polanco tried to send it into the seats. 3-2. The runner at first, Bauer, can leave early. Napoli hanging in the vicinity of first base with the left-handed batter up. Ball 4, and they're loaded up. 3 walks and a single. And the Twins have them full for Jason Castro.
It's the type of inning that the Twins took advantage of Perez's wildness. That in the 5th inning when he walked 3, and then Brian Dozier stepped up and hit the 3-run double.
Chris Jimenez caught a good ball game last night. Now Castro will do the catching tonight. Hit a pinch hit home run Sunday against the Tigers. Ball 1. Remember, Kepler was called out on strikes, and the replay showed that was actually ball 4-2.
Cashner making just his 3rd start. He started with the Rangers on a disabled list this year. Had some tendonitis in that right arm.
I think there's just been 1 swing, and that was Bauer's single.
Polanco fouled one off.
Yep, you're right. Yep.
That's been it.
29th pitch of the inning. So far, there have been a grand total of 10 strikes thrown. Castro swings on 2-0 and misses. 2-1.
Only 2 Twin players have faced Cashner before. Castro has. He's 0 for 3, and Jimenez not in the ball game, 0 for 2.
Up the middle, right into the shift. Andrus fires to first, and Cashner survives a terribly shaky first inning. Really going back to the middle part of last year, but a 3-0 mark with a microscopic earned run average.
He's allowed only 2 runs in the 28 innings pitched. He has 8 walks, 20 strikeouts, only 9 hits allowed. That's how awesome Santana has been. And you look at the ERA right there. Number 1, Irvin Santana.
Menard's batting order for the Texas Rangers. Some hitters that have had some success against Santana, but not when he's been pitching as well as this. Shin-Soo Choo leading off. Carlos Gomez batting second. Nomar Mazara, Mike Napoli, Rougned Odor, Elvis Andrus, Joey Gallo, Jonathan Lucroy, and Ryan Rua.
Yeah, it's been a while for Santana to be on the mound here in Arlington. Last time he faced the Rangers here back in 2013 when he was a member of the Kansas City Royals.
First pitch, a strike to Shin-Soo Choo.
Santana making his 32nd career start against the Texas Rangers. That's the most that he has started against a ball club.
His most recent start against the Indians on a very chilly and miserable day at Target Field, that on April 20th. And even though the Indians got a run, and even though Santana didn't get the win, in some respects it was his most impressive start, because as he told me afterwards, it was so cold he could not get a feel for his breaking ball. He essentially was left out there for most of the game with his fastball and his changeup. 1 and 2. Bounces to the right side, and Dozier has it go off the end of his glove. And Choo's aboard with a leadoff single. Northland Ford defense for the Twins. And the fleet outfield of Rosario, Buxton, Kepler, Sano at third, Polanco, Dozier, Mauer, Castro behind the plate. Well, I asked him about how cold it was, and I said, somewhat jokingly, I said, well, what about pine tar? Now, I know pitchers aren't supposed to use it, but from time to time, pitchers will use pine tar. He said it was too cold for pine tar, and he couldn't get a feel for his breaking ball, and we all know his slider is his bread and butter pitch, and yet he pitched 6 innings, gave up just 4 hits and 1 run. Swing and a miss to Gomez.
Well, that happens in April. You know, no matter where you're at, you're going to run into days that you can't feel your fingers. I mean, at the old Met, my goodness, used to snow there, and Calvin Griffith make sure we got that game in. I mentioned Santana making his 32nd career start. He has 13 wins, 11 losses against the Texas Rangers, but the ERA very high, 5.57 over the 31 starts.
Up and in. He's gotten a couple of ground ball double plays this year, Santana has.
Yeah, one, and just he has not had a lot of success here. 6 and 7 here at Arlington with an ERA at 6.93. So he has had a tough time here winning some ball games and giving up some runs.
Down and away, 2-1.
And that's the last I'm going to say about it right there. That's in the past. Today is a new day.
Well, he's pitching better now than he has at any point in his career. He's taking on a Texas lineup that is still quite powerful. They have a lot of home runs, but their team batting average is very low. There's a bunt up the line. Sano, bare hands, rifles his throw, got him.
Wow.
My goodness, what a play by Miguel Sano.
I don't know if they're going to look at this yet. Jeff Bannister asking to hold on a second, but my goodness, what a great play by Sano, because he was playing back and Gomez laying down a bunt. You're thinking, oh, geez, this is a bunt right here, but Sano comes in, bare hands it. And even though his chest is going toward home plate, he's still able to get something on that throw on a bang play at first base.
This is one of those that
wow.
If it were in the 6th inning, they might challenge it, but it's the 1st inning. I don't think they're going to challenge it.
Well, they're still waiting over there.
And now the time 30-second clock has expired, and they want Jeff Bannister to make a decision, and his decision, and of course, it's Alfonso Marquez who has to come in and prod the Texas manager a little bit.
What a great play. I mean, he has no time to do anything except grab that ball with his bare hand and then hopefully get it over there quickly. What an outstanding play by Sano. Wow.
When he picks up the ball, if you blink, you'll miss his throw. A tremendous play, and we've seen him do that a half dozen times already this year. Runner at second, one down, and here's Mazzara. Strike to the inside corner.
We'll take another look at it right here. Joe Mauer stretching out, getting out as far as he can to get that ball in his glove.
In the Detroit series, they were swinging bunts, and Sano made a couple of really nice plays. This was a straight bunt attempt for a base hit by Gomez, who's not as fast as he used to be, but he can still get down the line.
He can still motor, yeah. Well, what made that play where Sano was playing, he wasn't playing in on the grass. He was on the dirt, and he came in and made that great play.
2 strikes to Mazzara. Napoli will follow. Time called. Castro can't find it. They'll throw to third and get Chu easily at third. I don't know that Castro even blocked it. It might have been Chad Fairchild, but the ball was resting right at Castro's feet. 2 down.
Well, I think Chu thought that that ball got behind Castro, maybe on the grass area, and he was going to try to attempt to take off. You see where that ball, yeah, it looked like it hit the shin guards of the catcher, of the umpire, Fairchild, and stayed right there. And Chu thought about going back, but then he was caught in no man's land.
2 down, 1 and 2 to the batter, Mazzara. And a breaking ball in the dirt. That's the pitch that Santana said he just had no feel for at all against the Indians.
Well, this is a slider right here.
2-2. And pounded into the Texas dugout or thereabouts.
One thing Irvin Santana does a good job of, and he'll pitch guys inside, he'll change speeds, and then he'll throw that little, almost like a 2-seamer down and away. But really, he has always been a very, very quality pitcher, even in the Angel organization. Here another slider down and in. What he's trying to do is get that up a little bit to where, you know, the left-handed hitters want to swing at that because it looks like a strike and the bottom falls out of it.
Like Napoli on deck, and Napoli's got some pretty good history against Santana. He'd like to buckle down and get Mazzara here and face Napoli to start the next inning. Tapper to second should get the job done. Dozier to Bauer. Santana gives up a ground ball base hit, but faces just 3 men in the first. North is presented by Chevrolet, the #1 selling brand in the Twin Cities. And by State Farm. Combine home and auto and see how much money you can save. Gusty winds, 20-25 miles per hour blowing in from right field. Kenny Vargas leading off the Twins second. A high pop-up. And the wind will push it to Andrus. One down. Vargas goes after the first pitch for a quick first out. Let's go to Marnie Gilman.
In our car scoop from the clubhouse tonight, Robbie Grossman was not in the starting lineup tonight because Kenny Vargas is. And Molitor said it's a tough decision to not play Grossman right now, but that Vargas needs some at-bats too. Trevor May is here in Texas. He was in the clubhouse today. He had Tommy John surgery a month ago and can extend his arm almost completely, but bending the elbow is coming along a little more slowly. And the Twins announced today that reliever Ryan O'Rourke has a partially torn elbow ligament, and he will also need Tommy John surgery. O'Rourke was hoping that he'd have a less invasive surgery to be able to fix the problem, but not so, Dick and Bert. So another Tommy John surgery for a reliever.
Well, that's too bad. The Twins were hoping to get Ryan sometime this year. Here's a ground ball up the middle. Andrus has the ball skip under his glove, and Rosario's going to dig for second base. Gomez with the throw. Not in time. A hustle double for Rosario on a ball that just leaked under Andrus's glove.
You know what? That is good base running right there by Rosario, because he didn't take it for granted that that ball got underneath the glove of the shortstop, but he watched the shortstop make contact with the glove, which slowed it down. Watch Andrus right here. He's going to his left. Even Cashner kind of slowed that ball down. But then Gomez, who plays a very deep center field, probably one of the players that plays the deepest center field, Rosario, took advantage of that.
Buxton bluffing a bunt, taking ball one, and also bluffing was Rosario, who took a couple of hard steps toward third base. Buxton hitless last night, drew a couple of walks, saw a lot of pitches, baby steps. Incrementally a better night for Buxton at the plate. Again, flashing bunt and taking ball two.
You know, Cashner having a tough time throwing strikes. 35 pitches, only 14 strikes.
Corner infielders up. 2-0 to Buxton. 3-0. With Dozier on deck.
Well, Paul Molitor and also Brian Dozier gave Buxton a lot of credit last night when he drew that walk in the 5th inning that set up the 3-run double for Dozier. That came with 2 outs.
And he takes a strike.
Now, if you're Buxton right here, you see a pitcher's having a tough time with that strike zone. You have to look for a fastball out over the plate and drive it back up the middle, exactly what Rosario did. Don't try to hit it a country mile. Take it right back up the middle.
Strike two.
It's a pitch away. And until he's able to do that, I think Buxton will continue to maybe struggle a little bit. Got to take that pitch away the other way. More up the middle.
See what he can get done here. Still looking for his first run batted in. Rosario out there with some speed at second base. Foul back. Sanford Health injury report with Ryan O'Rourke will undergo Tommy John surgery. Valuable reliever second half last year. Elbow started bothering him late in March. And Buxton takes a walk. The 4th walk issued by Cashner. First time through the order.
Yeah, first time through the order too. He went 3-0 on 3 batters, so really having a tough time finding that strike zone.
He walked Dozier on 4 pitches, and then on the next pitch Dozier tried to steal second and was thrown out. Dozier with the big 3-run double, the only run producing at bat for the Twins last night in their 3-2 win. And a strike. Now the Twins do have some speed on the bases, and Rosario a couple of times has feinted toward third base. We saw in the ball game last night the Rangers execute a double steal.
Yeah, Odor, the second baseman, playing Rosario very close to second.
Dozier takes one up and in, 1-1.
Yeah, the first pitch that he was able to get over was a breaking ball, and then there's that fastball up and in.
Cashner last year between San Diego and Miami had an ERA of 5.5. Lifted foul and out of play. The numbers, as we said, have been going up the last few years for Cashner, and now the challenge of facing new hitters in an American League that has a designated hitter. Twins fans know how worrisome that can be with the likes of Pelfrey and Velasco and others.
He's had some injuries that have kind of set him back a little bit. No, Rangers, I think, taking a chance that he can stay healthy. Best season he had, 2013, where the Padres only won 10 ball games.
Off to second. Rosario back easily. Dozier takes down and away, 2-2.
Like a changeup right there. He missed down and away.
Cashner's faced 9 batters, retired 3 of them, yet the Twins don't. Excuse me, 4 of them. No, I was right the first time. Fouled back. He's retired just 3 batters, and the Twins have yet to get a run. Still 2-2 to Dozier. Double play, grounder. Wow. Cashner has survived another shaky inning. He's still are scoreless in Arlington. Santana hasn't been given any run support yet. He's faced just 3 batters after giving up a leadoff single. Now Mike Napoli will lead things off. Former teammates with the Angels. Napoli since has had the better of it in his matchups with Santana. 10 for 25 with 3 home runs. And now Santana misses twice, 2-0.
And Napoli came up with the Angels as a catcher. So I'm sure he caught Santana numerous times.
Two and one. Popped up behind second base. And Dozier with Polanco right in his shadow. 1 down. That'll bring up Odor. Tonight's Cold Hard Facts brought to you by Clean Crisp Coors Light. And since July 6th, Irvin Santana's been outstanding.
Boy, look at that run that he has been on. That's 19 starts. My goodness. Too many guys in baseball throughout your career can say they had a stretch like Irvin Santana's had.
There's Odor off to a slow start, like so many Ranger hitters, but he still has some power with 3 home runs. Ball 1 inside.
You know, I mentioned that Santana's always been that kind of pitcher. When he first signed with the Angels from the Dominican Republic back in 2000, I mean, my goodness, his minor league numbers, 45 and 17 in the minor leagues and 96 starts. You know, with a very good ERA, about 3.5. So it's not like someone that developed into a good pitcher. He's always been a good pitcher. He's won 16 in the big leagues a couple years, 17, 14.
That's foul. Bauer reaching toward the foul line.
Yeah, first base umpire David Rackley kind of got 1 foot in fair territory and the other one in foul, kind of watching that ball go to his left.
Well, Odor gets reset. We should tell you at some point, I think top of the next inning, we'll have Ivan Rodriguez join us in the booth.
Looking forward
He'll
to
be inducted into the Hall of Fame in July. His son Derek is in the Twins minor league system. So we've got some topics to discuss with a guy who, in the years I've been doing this, is the best catcher I've ever seen. I mean, he was, what, 12 times? He won a Gold Glove, 2,800 hits. 2-2. And another bouncer foul.
Odor off to a slow start, hitting just 190. Does have 3 home runs.
Struck him out. 2 away in the second. Let's find Marnie Gelner.
You guys have the big story tonight, and that is Milwaukee's Eric Thames has been terrific. 2 more home runs last night in a game against Cincinnati. Thames leads all of baseball with 10 homers. He's hit 7 of them against the Reds alone. Then the Dodgers and Giants in San Francisco with the arms on display last night. Yasiel Puig is going to come up with this ball and get Brandon Belt at the plate. That was early on in the first inning. And then the Dodgers had the tying run on first. In the 8th inning, Buster Posey threw him out. In the 9th inning, tying run is on second base. Posey gets him. That's Justin Turner. That's how the game ended right there. Big arms, made some big plays last night in San Francisco.
A 1-2-3 second for Irvin Santana. was the best catcher I've ever seen. Ivan Rodriguez against the Twins did a lot of damage. Just 29 home runs. Seemed like there were twice as many home runs against the Twins. And less than 100 runs batted in. That seems low, too. Didn't make any difference whether he was with the Rangers or later with the Tigers. And we're very happy to have the Hall of Fame to be catcher Ivan Rodriguez with us. Congratulations.
Thank you.
I'm sure he's already told you to keep your acceptance speech pretty short, right?
Thank you. Short. I only have 8 minutes.
8 minutes?
Very quick.
Oh, no. Hey, it's once in a lifetime. Take your time.
Thank you. Thank you.
Well, it had to be a special moment when you got that call in January that acknowledged what we all knew, that you would be a Hall of Famer.
Well, it was great for 3 days. I couldn't sleep. I'm going to be very honest with you. I got a great wife at home that calmed me down, tell me that take it easy, if it's going to be for you, it's going to be for you. And when the day came in, 4 o'clock, I was in Dallas in Mike Allen, a friend of mine's house, and I got the call. I'm glad that I got the call and not John Blake.
John's been the longtime media director here for the Rangers. Kepler at the plate with a 3-1 count.
When you got that call, too, same thing with me. We didn't pack. I don't know if you packed ready to go to New York, because they want you to go to New York right away. And I had talked to some other guys that thought they were going to go in, and they packed, and all of a sudden now they had to unpack. So my wife, Gail, and I, we didn't pack. Once we got that phone call finally, after 14 years.
I did the same thing. I didn't pack.
No.
I got the call at 4 o'clock, and at 5, I went home for 5 minutes, back, and like you mentioned, we came to the ballpark, did the press conference, and 9:30 I was on the plane and arrived in New York 1:30 in the morning.
I got to ask you, I think you signed in 1989 with the Rangers, did you not? Was Jim Sundberg still around then?
Yeah, Jim Sundberg.
Yeah. Did you learn a lot from, because I pitched here in 1976 and 77, and Jim Sundberg was my catcher, and he caught, I think, 140, 150 games, and you did the same thing. How did you do that in this heat?
Well, Jim, always, as he's well built. He's a very strong man, and again, play here is like I play back home in Puerto Rico. I grew up in the 95 at 100 degrees weather.
You didn't catch 6 out of 7 days either.
No, not really. But I guess, with a good discipline, working hard, get yourself ready to play every day, you can do it. But, we got great trainers. They keep us, with a lot of water. They give us what we need to play in this heat. And, I didn't know. Right now, it's hard for me to say right now that I did that for such a long time. Right now, I'm sitting sometime
I gotta be honest
on the bench.
Yeah, I got to be honest with you, Yvonne. There was a game that you had a day off. I believe it was a Sunday, and we were leaving town that day, and I saw you under the runway heading to our bus, walking to the bus. You were, after the game, you were running in that tunnel.
Yes. Yeah,
I thought, here's a guy that had a day off, but he's making sure he's getting his work in.
Again, that's what we mentioned, talked earlier. Discipline is very important. If you want to play this game for a long time, stay in great shape. It's not only during the season. You have 4.5 months in the off season to prepare yourself to play 162, and I did that, my whole career.
So those guys at the center.
I got to ask you, Yvonne, you caught Nolan Ryan.
Right.
Yeah. How exciting was that?
Very excited. Very impressive to.
You didn't catch his 5,000 strikeout.
No. Mike Stanley did.
Yeah.
Did that. Well, I played with him 3 years, and at the end of his career, he retired. I think at 45, 46, and it's amazing to see a guy at the age of 46 still throwing 98 miles an hour to home plate, and with a 12-6 curveball and a good sinker, good two-seam changeup. I mean, I have the privilege to say that I played with Nolan for 3 years, and we get along well. Today we're still good friends. One of the calls that I got, when I got selected to the Hall of Fame, was from Nolan Ryan, so the communication always still there.
Now there's 2 numbers that are retired here besides Jackie Robinson. Johnny Oates, number 26, Nolan Ryan, number 34, and there's going to be another one up there, number 7.
Right.
That's got to be exciting.
It's going to be exciting, you know.
And that's going to be in August, I believe?
Yes, in August, right after coming from Cooperstown. They're going to do that the next homestand. So big names there, you know.
I got goosebumps just thinking about it.
Well respected names in that, you know, in that second level right there, and just thinking about, you know, having my number, my name there is an honor.
Was there a game or a moment against the Twins that stands out? You played both at the Metrodome and toward the end at Target Field, I think, too, towards the end of your career.
Yes, I don't remember the year, but here I remember that I hit 3 home runs against you guys here one time, and I think the last one.
I'm happy for you now.
What is the lefty closer?
There's a high fly down the left field line and a long run for Rua, and he's going to make the catch.
Great play.
Sliding over the foul line. Out number 2.
That wind can be a bear here. We saw Rua make a great catch in the top of the 9th inning off of Brian Dozier. He went against the fence, but here he has to come charging in, and sometimes that wind here kind of swirls, but he stayed with it. Good concentration, and it's a sliding catch for the second out.
I can't believe I forgot the name. He's
Eddie Guardado.
Eddie Guardado.
Eddie. Eddie played here in Texas too.
Yeah,
he played a little bit here.
Yeah, he plays here. But yeah, you know, and good memories at the old Metrodome. You know, it was a ballpark, very interesting ballpark. You coming down.
Good ballpark to hit in, wasn't it?
I remember then. When you go around those doors, you have to put your hard because the wind, you know, keep us, you know, it's
suck you out or suck you in.
Yeah, and, great times there.
Well, there he is. You got him 3 times.
Sorry, Eddie, I think you deep. Good man right there.
Yes, he is.
Very good man.
Polanco, the batter, we're visiting with Ivan Rodriguez, who in a matter of a couple of months will be inducted into the Baseball Hall of Fame. He'll join the exclusive company, joined by the gentleman to his right, Mr. Blyleven.
No, I live in Fort Myers, Florida also. And when I go home, I get some breaks off the TV. I'm going to go watch your son pitch. But you were just down there watching him pitch.
Yeah, I was him last week as a typical father, you know, came in with my wife. And, you know, obviously I love to watch baseball. But when your son is there.
You're nervous.
Of course, I was nervous. You know, it's hard for me to sit. You know, I watch one inning from behind the plate, and then I go and watching from third base, and then I go and watching from the outfield. Always continuously, you know, walking around the ballpark.
And that's a beautiful ballpark to walk around.
It was a beautiful ballpark. You know, as a matter of fact, it's a better view from the outfield to home plate.
Yes.
You know, that new construction they did in the outfield is a great view from there. But he did good. You know, he pitched 5 strong innings, threw 90-some pitches, threw a lot of strikes. I think he struck out like 6-7 guys, and he's doing good.
Now he signed as an outfielder.
He signed as an outfielder. He signed as an outfielder, and then when Broston came in, and signed as a first rounder, you know, they called Derek and said, look, you know, I think you can be, you know, you can try it as a pitcher if you like. Derek always likes being a pitcher. You know, when he pitched, when he plays high school and plays in Miami, he was the closer of the team and also an outfielder. But he always loved pitching.
Now you told me he can throw 95 miles per hour.
He can get to 95, but he pitched, you know, between 90 and 93 sink, which is plenty.
Yes.
What do you think?
I agree. I agree.
Tonight he went 6 2/3 innings for Fort Myers, 2 earned runs. His total in 4 starts, 25 innings. So California high school math, I believe that's more than 6 innings per start.
That's hard to find nowadays. My
and
goodness.
if he keeps doing that, he'll be up
Where's
here pretty
that?
quick.
I mean, that needs to listen to this.
Well, it sure looks like he's well on his way to maybe being the 2nd generation big leaguer Rodriguez.
You know, as a 3rd-year pitcher, you know, coming from an outfielder, he's doing great. And every time he pitch, he's present there at the pitcher's rubber. He's getting better and better, and he's throwing a lot of strikes. And when you throw a lot of strikes, you're going to get a lot of guys out.
Polanco retired. And we thank Ivan Rodriguez. Keep working on that speech. We'll be watching. Congratulations.
I'll see you in Cooperstown.
Thank you.
And the Rangers still here in Arlington. Irvin Santana has been absolutely fantastic to start this season, but really he hit his stride last season in July, and it's been 19 consecutive impressive starts, the best stretch the Twins have seen since another Santana was on the hill. That's Johan Santana, the former Cy Young Award winner. He had a string of starts from later in 04 into 05 where he posted an ERA under 2. Irvin's ERA during his last 19 is 2.01. And look at the opponent batting averages, too, both in the 180s. Just incredible numbers and amazing consistency from Santana and Santana, guys.
Well, thank you, Marty. And I think Twins fans remember this. When the Twins signed Irvin Santana, we all found out that his birth name was Johan Santana. He changed it to Irvin in 2003. Well, the Twins have threatened to score, and they've had Cashner on the ropes. Meanwhile, Santana has faced the minimum through 2 innings. Joey Gallo will lead things off. There's ball 1. And now 2-0. Well, it was very nice of Ivan Rodriguez to stop by and visit with us. And man, he was good for a long, long time. Hooked foul. Look out. Yikes. That hit the screen, thankfully.
That's something that I want to see every ballpark do right there, that screen. I agree. You know, Ivan Rodriguez was a horse back there. But that screen right there, Dick, that
saved somebody an injury.
I know we did it at Target Field, and I know fans, there's no difference sitting behind the screen than you don't really notice the screen.
Or at least you get used to it if you do notice it. 2-1 to Gallo. Just not. And another good idea, putting screens in front of the dugout.
Yes.
That one was smoked. I had Rodriguez sign a baseball for the Diamond Awards because I try to get some baseballs signed for the big benefit banquet we have for the Bob Allison Ataxia Research Center. And he got to the part where he put HOF 17 and a big smile came across his face. I mean, that never gets tiresome for you, does it?
No.
Joey Gallo is a big leaguer and has now struck out 103 times in 198 at bats.
Irvin Santana picking up his second strikeout. So what he does here, you can see go underneath that swing. And you can see Gallo, he's trying to do one thing, hit it into the 3rd deck, but there's only 2 decks here in Arlington.
Well, the ERA keeps going down. These 2 1/3 innings into this game without allowing a run, just one base hit. That's impressive in and of itself. It's one thing to have 4 starts, give up just 2 runs, but as you said in the open, just 9 and now 10 hits allowed. And he's fallen behind more hitters here today than typically a full game's worth.
Yeah, he's faced 8 batters now. He's been able to get strike 1 on 4 of the 8, so half.
2-0 to Lucroy.
And what you'd like to do is maybe 2 out of 3 get strike 1.
And Lucroy, for whatever reason, seeing Santana well, he's got 5 hits in 8 at bats.
Well, there's certain hitters. Sometimes you find yourself always behind an account, and you have to come in with a pitch. And Lucroy right there got a fastball look in, and he opened up quickly. He got a base hit, second hit off of Santana.
We'll bring up Ryan Rua. Rangers won 95 ball games last year. They're expected to at least contend for postseason play again this year, and they're doing it right now with a cavity in left field. Jurickson Profar hasn't hit, Rua hasn't hit, but when he does hit the ball, I can attest, having watched him in batting practice the last 2 games before the game, it goes a long, long way. He was routinely putting him in the grass in center field with what appeared to be half swings.
Well, you can be a 5 o'clock hitter. Their goal is to be a 7-7:30 hitter.
Well, right now
3 hits and 26 at bats.
At 7 o'clock, he's hitting 115. And now 1-1. It's so fun to watch a pitcher who regularly is on top of his game and dominates a lineup. And we have not seen that around here or anything close to it for a long, long time. Busted his bat, bounced slowly to Sano, 1, and that's it. Napoli forced. Rua reaches on a fielder's choice. Got in and cracked his bat, it sounded like. Twins fans, join us for Kids in the City. Tuesday, May 2nd, we're celebrating members of the Boys and Girls Clubs of the Twin Cities and our Fox Sports North All-Stars, including 11-year-old Ronnie. Your ticket includes a pregame party at Fulton Brewery and a ticket to the Twins versus A's. Tickets are on sale now at boysandgirls.org/kidsinthecity. Here's Shin-Soo Choo singled off the glove of Brian Dozier in the first inning.
That kind of a seeing eye base hit. Mauer went for it. Dozier got a piece of it.
See Santana unhappy with another first pitch out of the strike zone. And foul. Get the sense in watching Santana during this great run that he's been on that he's very demanding of himself. And when he's had some control difficulty, he's been very difficult or very hard on himself. Self-analytical, though, I think, to the point where we had the infamous game a couple starts ago where everybody came to the mound. He was upset. He'd walk one guy and fallen behind the next guy 3-0 or something like that.
Well, why wouldn't you, Dick? I mean, what as a starter today, you get 30, 35 starts if you're lucky. You know, you better find a way to get on that day. 365 days out of the year, you get 30 of those to be at your best.
1-2 to Choo. But obviously, neither I nor most Twins fans have seen much of that over the last few years. So it stands out more when you see it. This guy's got it. This guy knows what he's doing out there. And when things start to get a little kaflooey, he doesn't need the pitching coach to come out and tell him what's wrong.
No. Neil Allen may walk out there and he might say, "What are you doing out here? Leave me alone. I know what I'm trying to do." Only because I used to say that all the time. What do you know about pitching?
Yeah,
You're a hitter.
Bob Gibson's line when Tim McCarver had come out. The only thing you know about pitching is you can't hit it.
Couldn't hit it. Yep.
2-2.
Well, Santana's been pitching a long time too. That helps. 2,200 innings coming into this outing.
Right to Mauer, sharply hit for the 3rd out of the inning. We have 3 scoreless innings, and you are watching Twins baseball, presented by State Farm. Fox Sports North is presented by Northland Ford. Visit buyfordnow.com and your local Northland Ford dealer today. By Grand Casino, the best stories start here. And by Menards. Save big money at Menards on all your home improvement needs. To the 4th inning, and Jason Castro will lead things off. Castro came up with the bases loaded, 2 down on the first, ended up hitting a sharp grounder up the middle. But as there is now, there was somebody standing there. In this case, and in that case, Andres, the shortstop, was there to get the ground ball and turn it into the final out.
You know, Cashner now has faced 15 batters, but the first 14 batters, 7 of them saw 6 or more pitches. That's pitch number 68 right there.
He's walked 6, walked another couple. We'll just say he hasn't been sharp yet.
Well, that's the sad part. I mean, you think
It's
about it,
still
you had
scoreless.
him on the ropes
Yeah.
to maybe put a couple runs to touch home plate, and now all of a sudden he may settle down and do what Santana's been able to do for 3 innings.
Again, that's what made last night's game so nice. The Twins haven't had many clutch hits, and they got one with the bases loaded. Dozier driving in 3 runs, and those 3 runs were enough to win a ball game. 2-2 to Castro, and a called 3rd strike. 1 down. That'll bring up Vargas. But first, let's get caught up in this scoreless game.
Well, a pitcher's duel right now. The Twins had the opportunity. There it is in the first inning. A ground ball up the middle with bases loaded gets Cashner out of the game, or out of the inning. And Twins have left 5 men on. Ervin Santana, he's doing today what he's done in his first 4 starts, putting zeros on the board and keeping the club in the game.
There's Vargas, and there's strike 1. Vargas popped up to short his first time up, swung at the first pitch, leading off the 2nd inning. This one hit to right. It is up, it is back, and gone. A home run for Kenny Vargas, and the Twins take the first lead. Just enough to clear the wall in right. It's 349. The nearest marker is 349, and they've measured that at 357.
Well, Vargas gave it a ride up in that wind. You wonder if that wind knocked it down a little bit. Right down that right field line. just over the fence.
And now Rosario takes a strike on the outside corner. Well, all right, so Cashner's had a hard time throwing strikes and throwing strike one, so he throws strike one and then gives up a home run on the next pitch. And Rosario takes up and away. Rosario with a double, skipping one under the glove of Andres and into short center field, and he hustled to second with a one-out double, extending his hitting streak to 8 games. Lifted to left and spinning foul.
I read a note earlier, and I just found it, that Eddie Rosario, and now this is his 13th game against the Texas Ranger organization since he's come up, and he's got to hit it in all 13 ball games.
One or 2-2. 3-2.
Cashner's already walked 5 batters. Another batter will see at least 6 pitches.
And Rosario will see another one. '80th pitch coming up for Cashner. Pulled down the line, foul. One footnote: when we had Ivan Rodriguez here, and he said the one game against the Twins that stands out is him hitting 3 home runs in one game, and he did it on September 11th, 1997. But there was a string of time in there where 19 opponents hit 3 home runs in a game, in between Twins players who hit 3 home runs in a game. This one hit hard to center. And Gomez catches one that was hit right on the button. That's out number 2. Buxton coming up at first. You can follow Twins baseball live with the MLB.com at-bat mobile app. Stay connected to the game's best players all season long with game day, live game video highlights, radio broadcast, stats, news, and more. Download MLB.com at-bat today. It's your #1 app for live baseball. 2 down. Here's Buxton.
We're talking about 3 home runs in a ball game, Dick. I mean, there's been a lot more opponents that have hit 3 home runs in the game than Twins, correct?
Yeah, well, that's what I said. Since Oliva did it in '73, here's Buxton with a little looping liner to left, and Buxton's been aboard twice today. Since Tony did it in 1973, there were 19 opponents, wow, who did it 3 times in a game before Justin Morneau did it in '07, including Ivan Rodriguez. In the late '90s, it seemed like it was an annual occurrence. Somebody would hit 3 home runs against the Twins. So more encouragement for Buxton. Drew a walk in his first plate appearance, and now his speed with 2 outs.
There, we'll see if he tries to advance to second.
Over, and Buxton's back.
Buxton has 1 stolen base in his only attempt.
Not on the first pitch, and there's ball 1. And then there's that 2. A guy who's really struggled to throw strikes, particularly from the stretch position. Why risk being thrown out if the guy may end up walking Buxton to second base anyway? Swing and a miss, 1-1.
Well, Jeff Smith whispering in Buxton's ear the sign that they got from Gene Glenn over at third base.
Lucroy's already thrown out Dozier. In the dirt, 2-1. It's remarkable. If the Twins win today, they'll be a 500 ball club. And right now, Byron Buxton scored 2 runs. I don't think anybody would have thought that even possible coming out of spring training. Not the 500 part, but the fact that Buxton wouldn't be on base enough to score more than 2 runs. 2-1 to Dozier. There he goes. Check swing. And Buxton is in handily. Pitch taken for a ball, a check swing, no swing, and it's 3-1, and now Buxton's in scoring position.
Yeah, why not take the chance right there? I mean, worst thing happens, you know, he gets thrown out right here. You can see the stride and the head first slide, keeping that left hand on the bag. When Odor catches the ball right here, watch what he does. He keeps the glove on him. Now Brian, you know, worst thing, he gets thrown out. Brian leads off next inning. So Buxton steals his second base.
Kepler on deck to count 3-1 to Dozier. Inside, and the 7th walk issued by Andrew Kastner. And Kepler to the plate.
It looked like he tried a breaking ball, something off speed inside.
And Doug Brocail with another trip to the mound. It's not Kastner's fault, of course, but he was involved in an infamous trade. He was property of the Cubs, and the Padres wanted him, and they acquired Kastner and gave up Anthony Rizzo. And I'm guessing that's one the Padres wish they had back. First and second with 2 down, and now Kepler. Pitch counts up. Anthony Bass is up in the bullpen.
Yeah, 6 walks for Kastner with 2 strikeouts.
Yeah, I think I said 7, and there've only been 6. Chance for the Twins to create a little breathing room in this Kepler at bat. There's strike 1.
Well, you mentioned earlier, Kastner control has never been an issue. The most he had coming into this game, 4. He walked 4 in a ball game back in 2006 or 13. That was it. Now he's got a career high of 6 walks.
He issued 4 walks in his most recent start against the Royals here. It was a game that went 13 innings before the Rangers won 1-0. They swept the Royals. And consecutive nights walked the Royals off. 1-1 to Max Kepler. Out in front of the changeup. And it's 1-2. Kepler called out on strikes and what on replay looked like ball 4. Then he did draw a walk in the 3rd. Kastner ahead of him here, 1-2. The Twins leave 2. They score 1 on Vargas's first home run of the year, and it's 1-0 Minnesota.
1-0, and Twin fans, don't forget a Twin home game. You bring your Circle Me signs, you might find yourself in the Minnesota Lottery winner's circle, or you could win $100 worth of lottery scratch-off tickets, courtesy of the Minnesota Lottery. Nice sign right there. Thank you for all the Twin fans bringing the signs out.
Monticello, Minnesota. I think we had a sign from Monticello Sunday in your absence. Torrey Hunter, I think, circled the fan. 1-0 to Carlos Gomez, leading off the 4th inning. Tried to bunt in front of Sano on a very close play. Sano made a great throw on target to get Gomez. Santana falling behind the first batter again here in the 4th inning. Now pitching with a 1-0 lead.
A couple strikeouts for Santana. No walks, just 2 hits allowed, both singles. And missed with that breaking ball there. Falls behind 3-0.
And a strike. Strike 2.
There's that corner right there I talked about, where the umpire sometimes might give you a little bit more. That looked a little bit off the plate, but where Castro sat up, it hit the glove.
Fouled away. Gomez didn't seem to be a good fit in Houston. That's where he was a year ago, and then he was dealt over here. And had a good finish to the season last year, off to a slow start this year. And he takes a walk.
First walk for Santana. Looked like he tried a breaking ball and left it up.
Draft week on FS1. Skip and Shannon deliver insights, opinions, and predictions, team by team, player by player. Your go-to source for expert analysis, special guest, and a perspective only Skip and Shannon can provide. Undisputed Draft week, weekdays at 8:30 a.m. Central on FS1. Rangers got their leadoff man on in the first inning. Chu ended up being thrown out, trying to advance to third on a pitch in the dirt. Here's Mazzara, hit a ground ball to Dozier, his first time up. Fouled, back 1 strike. The subject of starting pitching, and we talked about Derek Rodriguez doing well for Fort Myers tonight. Jose Barrios pitched tonight for Rochester. 6 innings, 1 earned run, 3 walks, 10 strikeouts.
He's pitching well down there.
1 strike to Mazzara. Another foul back. 0-2. Rangers have been awfully good for the last couple of years, but in each case they ran into a Toronto Blue Jay team that has handled the Rangers like the Yankees used to handle the Twins in the playoffs. Texas won the first 2 games of the ALDS a couple years ago, but then the Blue Jays won 3 straight, and they swept them in 3 games last year. Lob to first.
You got to keep Gomez honest over at first base. Over 250 stolen bases in his career. He likes to run.
Castro recovers, fires to second, and they got him. Second time tonight that Castro's picked up a pitch out of the dirt and gunned down a runner.
Now Gomez tried to do the, take a couple steps with the ball's in the dirt. I'm going to take off, but Castro, that ball stayed right there, is able to pick it up quickly. Take a look at the pitch, and alertly barehands it, and then throws a P to second base, where Polanco was there to make the quick tag for the first out.
And now 1-2 to Mazzara, and he takes low. The first time it was the home plate umpire, Chad Fairchild, who did most of the blocking, but that time Castro blocked it and gunned down Gomez.
The opponents have stolen 9 bases now, but they've been thrown out 8 times.
Zara strikes out, 2 down. Talked about it the other day. In all of last year, there were only 20 caught stealings. We've already got 8 in the first 3 weeks and change.
Santana picks up his 3rd strikeout.
Bobblehead by day, Guardian by night, Marvel. Rocket, Raccoon, Twins bobblehead giveaways coming up Saturday, May 6th. First 10,000 fans receive a bobblehead courtesy of Marvel as the Twins take on the Red Sox. For more information, visit twinsbaseball.com or the ballpark app using your mobile device. 2 down, bases empty for Napoli. And there's strike 1. Napoli get a pop up to Dozier, his first time up. Foul back.
He does not get cheated. Napoli.
It's not just the fair balls. The foul balls travel farther. Everybody else has fouled them down beneath us. He swings and fouls one over our head.
241 career home runs for Napoli.
2 strikes from Santana. Santana playing a little cat and mouse with Napoli. One and 2. Ooh, just missed the inside corner, and it's 2-2. Very close pitch.
Let's see what Fox Track says right here.
Inside.
Just inside. Now, I guarantee you throw that same pitch away, might be called a strike.
Tony Beasley picks up the foul ball. It's great to see him back in the third base coach's box on a full-time basis for the Rangers. They're going treatment for cancer last year. 2-2. On the ground, Sano comes up firing, and the third baseman turns in another great play. How many times you see it? Guy makes a great play and leads off the next half inning.
Probably 1 out of 9 times.
I think you're right.
Yeah.
Made a great defensive play, but he caught this pop-up behind third base, adjusted to the wind, and then popped his body up to save a run. And then tonight, the barehander digging it out of the dirt to get the speedy Carlos Gomez at first base. And just before we went to break, look at Miguel Sano make this play at third. When I talked to him about his defense tonight, he said that he has worked on his agility in the offseason with a trainer and with a strength coach. And I asked him if he's ever surprised when his body does things like the way he popped up out of the grass last night. And he said, no, not at all, because he tries to get his body ready and his legs ready for any situation, running or fielding. I think we've seen several situations already just in this series, Dickenberg.
Marty, I thank you. I think what impressed me the most about the play he made last night wasn't so much the catch, but how quickly he got to his feet and threw a good, strong throw to home plate.
Yeah, and we saw it again on that play right there. He just, ended up throwing out Napoli. So, very agile.
But he's in the lineup because of his power. My goodness.
We're just talking about Napoli, and he does not get cheated. Sano does not get cheated. His 5th home run of the year gives the Twins a 2-0 lead. That was a blast.
We've only, we come here now just one series a year. I've never seen a ball hit where that landed.
And here's Fan throwing the ball back on the field, but watch this pitch. Wow. 6'4", about 260. Got all of that.
Pretty good 5 minutes for Miguel Sano. A nice defensive play to end the bottom of the 4th. And a tape measure home run to start the 5th. And that's the end of Cashner's night. He's given up a couple of solo home runs.
When Sano hit the ball out of the park, it sounds really loud.
Oh my God.
Unbelievable. How do I describe his power? He's stupid strong.
Crazy at all.
That guy came, I don't know how far can hit the ball. He got power.
You can tell by the swing they make contact that right away is a homer.
On the field, he's a monster and probably one of the strongest hitters I've seen so far.
He just hit the 21st home run to land in the club level in left. It left home plate at 110 miles per hour. It had height, it had distance, and it gave the Twins a 2-0 lead.
Well, Cashner out of the ballgame. Anthony Bass coming in, making his first appearance for the Rangers this season, just getting called up 4 days ago.
Down and in, ball 1. Mauer, the batter, singled to right center in his first at bat. Hit a fly ball down the left field line, and Ryan Rua made a nice sliding catch to retire Mauer in the 3rd.
Saw the numbers there in AAA. Bass with a fastball, 2-seamer, 4-seamer. He's got a slider and a changeup. He's pitched for the Padres, the Astros. He pitched a little bit last year with the Rangers.
To the left field corner, but twisting foul. Twins scoring 3 runs, enough for a win last night, now leading 2-0 here tonight. Base hit to the right field corner.
How about that?
With Mazzara shifted into the gap, Mauer will dig for second base. He didn't hit it well, may have broken his bat, but he lobbed it over the head of Napoli for a double.
And not too often we see Joe Mauer pull a ball because of the shifts we've seen all season long. Everybody shifting them down that left field line. It's a pitch that Joe turns on. And with the right fielder playing out in right center, it's an easy double for Joe Mauer, his 3rd double of the year. And his 2nd hit of the ball game.
Easier said than done, but I think Joe, if he's going to revitalize career, is going to have to do stuff like that more often, just to make the outfield defenses more honest. Polanco squares and takes up high, ball 1. He's off to a slow start, and he's had hits, many of them taken away because the center fielder's in left center, the left fielder's down the left field line. If he can do what he just did more often, the field might play him more straight up. This one pops straight up in the air, and the wind might help push it over the screen.
Yeah, Polanco looked bunt, or he showed bunt on that first pitch, then he swung away. Like to advance Joe over to 3rd.
Twins have shown some power. Vargas and Sano with the home run. Now they need to execute. Polanco hitting 5th, hoping to drive the run in, but at the very least would like to get Mauer to 3rd. Up and away, 2-1.
Yeah, those are little things that win you a ball game as much as the home runs.
Brian Dozier got the headlines because of the 3-run double, but if Sano doesn't make that play and come up firing on that pop-up down the line, Rangers get a run there, and that was the difference in that ball game. The little thing that Sano did. Up and in, now 3-1. Similarly, if Polanco can at least advance Mauer and make sure the Twins get another run here in the 5th, that might be the difference.
Bass last year pitched in Japan and then re-signed by the Rangers to a minor league contract back in February.
Into the corner, and Mauer will score, and Polanco to 2nd with an extra base hit, and it is 3-0. Good at bat by Polanco.
Well, that's advancing Joe Mauer all the way to home. Polanco with his 5th double of the year, picking up his 11th RBI. And back-to-back doubles after the Sano home run make it a 3-0 ball game. Ball left up, good solid swing by Polanco. The ball gets past Napoli into that corner, and Joe scoring the 2nd run of the inning.
Hey, runs are runs, but the Twins didn't get any, even though Cashner was trying to gift wrap some runs for them with all the walks. But here the Twins have jumped out 3-0, and they've hit their way to 3 runs. Somehow that seems a little more satisfying. When you go home run, double, and you lead 3-0. A little bit different than
double sounds pretty good,
it does,
right now.
doesn't it? There's Castro. The Twins, will take runs anyway. They've gotten a lot of bases loaded walks this year, things like that.
On home runs, we used to just say, find out, hey, that ball that Sano hit 437 feet.
Right.
That's a blast. But now they have left to bat 110 miles an hour.
What was the
35 degrees.
35-degree launch.
131 foot high.
That is a fair ball right on the chalk line. And Polanco will score. And Castro digs for 2nd with the 4th straight extra base hit. And the Twins, in addition to the power, are playing this 5th inning in right angles.
Now Castro driving in on his 9th run on his 2nd double of the year. And Bass getting hit around here, inside out swing. Castro didn't know where that ball went, and it hit in fair territory. Polanco scores. It's a home run, double, double, double.
Double, double, double. Vargas, the batter, hit a home run to right his last time up.
Where's in and out when you need it?
There's one right on our way home. Did you know that?
Yes, I saw it.
Right on our route to the hotel. There's an In-N-Out burger. 1 strike to Vargas. And now a ball.
Well, Vargas put the Twins on the board last inning with his first home run this season for the Twins.
Still nobody out in the inning. And Vargas tried to make it 2 home runs tonight. Interesting in talking to Vargas when he showed up at Target Field the other day, and in hearing Paul Molitor talk about Vargas in Rochester this year, they both said or used the same phrase, that Vargas was taking his walks, which fits in with what we've seen from this team this year. They're taking a lot of walks, but 2-2 to Vargas. If you want to pitch a good pitch to hit, you have to show the ability to take some walks. Why would a pitcher throw you strikes if he doesn't have to? And now to right field, another base hit. 5th straight hit. Castro will be held at 3rd. And the Twins are having their best offensive inning with the bats of the year. You can build your Target Field schedule with the Flex Plan. Get 20 tickets to use any way you'd like. 10 games with a friend, 5 games with 4 friends, 1 game with 19 friends if you'd like. Or as I said last night, just go to 20 games all by yourself if you'd like. Plus your tickets are discounted, so is your food and beverage. Learn more at twinsbaseball.com/flex. They're going to get the TV announcers to do that still photograph for the flexing, but you and I both declined to do that.
No, they didn't ask me. I would think about it.
Would you?
Yeah. I drug Bocale out there to talk to Bass, who has not had a very good outing in his first outing back since AAA and since last year for the Rangers. A double, 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 and now a single. 4 straight hits off of him.
And now Eddie Rosario, who has a double and a line out to center.
Still nobody out here in the top of the 5th inning.
11 total bases on hits from the first 5 batters of the inning. Rosario late on that fastball, strike 1. That kicks away to the backstop, and Castro will score. Vargas to second base. And the Twins have at least 4 runs here in the 5th.
And then it'll be a wild pitch charged to Bass. Second wild pitch. Ashner had a wild pitch last inning. Lucroy.
Ooh, that was not a good blocking attempt. Vargas at second, nobody out. 1-1 to Rosario. Deep to the left field corner, but foul. Well, some encouraging signs from this lineup even before this 5th inning. Better at bats along the way. Patient at bats.
Well, you mentioned last year, Dick, you know, Twins played very well against the Rangers, winning 5 of the 7. So good luck continues. Winning last night, opening up the game a little bit here with a 5-0 lead for Irvin Santana.
Rolled to the left side, backhanded, and the ball by Napoli, and Vargas will go to third. Rosario, guessing, will get an infield hit, but it's a poor throw by Andres. Still nobody out.
Yeah, you almost look like Rosario beat the throw anyway.
Should be an error charge to allow Vargas to go to third, so maybe a hit and an error.
Well, Rosario, watch this right here. Andres playing back, he steps, and Vargas right there, but then with that low throw, it would have been a bang play if Napoli's able to catch that ball. We'll see how they rule it.
Almost looked like that ball took a weird bounce when it came to Napoli, and there's been so much traffic in that area with all these base runners. It may have hit some uneven ground. Here's a ball hit to right center field by Buxton, and another run will score. Still nobody out in the inning.
And Buxton with an RBI, his first of the year.
Vargas coming in, still nobody out. And if they did give Rosario a single and an error charge, that's 7 straight hits. And so far they have just 10 hits up on the board, so maybe just straight error on the Rosario ball. Dozier will bat. Twins have hung up a crooked number, a very crooked number here in the 5th. And Buxton nearly pulled the trigger on a scamper to second base.
Well, you know what? So much talk about Buxton. You know, everybody wants him to do good. Last couple nights have been really good for Buxton.
He didn't get a hit last night.
Times.
He walked. He got on base.
Yeah, he walked his first at bat, then got a base hit, and now picks up his first RBI. So good for Byron.
Swing and a miss. 1-1. You know, we're all looking for encouragement from Buxton, and one of the encouraging things that happened last night was a strike. He hit a foul ball to the right field foul pole. And 98% of his fouls this year have been pulled. And he hit the ball on the barrel and hit it down the right field line foul. Maybe a little foreshadowing of what was to come. He let the ball track in a little bit farther, travel a little bit, and then hit the ball hard down the right field line. 2-1 to Dozier. Alex Claudio warming up, with Bass so far offering no relief at all. 3-1. And they have ruled on the Rosario ground ball just a straight error.
Straight error.
And there's a strike. 3-2.
Yeah, Andres gets the error, his 4th of the year, the 12th error for the Rangers on the season.
Full count. Nobody out. Buxton at first. Buxton goes, and Dozier hits a ground ball to second. There'll be just one play, and another run will score. So Dozier put it on the ground in play, enough to get Rosario in from third base. And let's go to Marnie Gelder.
One of the 6 runs that the Twins have scored tonight, guys, came from Miguel Sano's bat. The home run that landed right here in the first row of the upper deck between seats 2 and 3.
How'd she get up there so quick?
I ran.
Ooh.
And there are these two guys sitting right here. They were down a little bit, but scrambled after the baseball. James, in the Texas Rangers jersey, figures he's been to 35 games between the last few seasons in this section and said he has never seen a home run ball hit in this section. The guy next to him, that's Michael. He's the one that jumped up out of his seat and grabbed the baseball, and then he threw it back.
Yeah.
He said out of the peer pressure from everyone around him, which is like
12,
people? 13 people, and regrets the decision because that was a monstrous home run from Miguel Sano.
I knew one of those guys threw it back. I would have kept it if I were them.
Well, it's a trick as old as baseball itself,
Well,
almost.
yeah,
you
they have
bring
a
an
bag of
old
old balls.
You bring an old ratty ball with you in case you get one. You keep the home run ball. You take the one filled with sawdust and you throw it back on the field.
Yeah, wait a minute. You think you sit on where they sat right there that they're going to bring an old ball with them and they expect a home run to be hit in that area? I don't think so.
It's the 21st time a ball's landed up there in the 22-year history of this ballpark. And that has opened the door for the most impressive batting inning the Twins have had. They've had big innings before, but they've always been accompanied by a whole bunch of walks. Just about everything this inning has been put in play for a hit, minus the one error. Now Kepler lifts it foul.
Yeah, Kepler, the 9th batter to face this inning. Credit Brian Dozier with an RBI, his 7th of the year, with Rosario scoring. Buxton at second now with 2 outs. So good inning for the Twins.
One and two.
So if they can keep it going.
2-2. Kepler hasn't put a ball in play. It looked like he walked in the first inning. Instead, he was called out on strikes. He did walk in the third. Then he went down swinging to end the 4th.
Well, Cashner worked 4+ innings. He threw 94 pitches. And Bass is trying to get the 3rd out. This will be pitch number 33 for him.
On the ground, Andres picks it up, fires to first, and Buxton moves to 3rd. So a case where the shift did take a hit away from Kepler because that ball was a hot grounder that otherwise might have skipped up the middle, but Andres is there to make the play. And here comes Sano, who hit the mammoth home run that Marnie just described. Did we check whether long distance rates apply to Marnie's hit in the 5th inning? That was a long ways away.
Yeah, she got over there quick. She's still out there. She's waiting for another one.
Waiting for the next one.
Yeah, and I guarantee you she won't throw it back.
There you go. Go ahead.
She will not throw it back.
Down and away, 1-1. Remember, Sano ended the bottom of the 4th with a really nice fielding play going to his left. Jack to swing. 2-1. Tried to put a ringer on the one he hit earlier this inning. A big swing and a foul.
You know, we have 3 guys in this game with Napoli, the way he swings, Gallo with the way he swings the bat, and Sano. These guys do not get cheated.
Jack to swing.
Good take right there.
And now it's 3-2 with Mauer on deck. To right center and toward the gap. Gomez won't get there, and Sano has an RBI single. He's thrown out to end the inning. A home run to start the inning. A single driving in a run to end the inning, and in between a whole lot of hitting for the Twins.
You know, so fun-loving.
Nicest guy on the team, probably.
Very surprising, you know, about him. I've always seen him play and how much of a nice guy he is.
Never says too much, just goes about his business.
Obviously a great pitcher and everything he's accomplished on the field.
My grand Chejo is on my dad.
Just a guy that you gravitate towards.
Good guy. I admire him.
There's no question he's a leader of this rotation. You can lead by different means with animation, vivid personality, or you can just go about your business and do your job and lead that way. And I think that's what Santana does.
Yeah, like the guy said, his teammates say, you know, he's not an outspoken type individual, but he comes to the ballpark every day for a purpose, whether he's pitching or not, to get his work in, to know what he needs to do to get ready for his next start. Now he knows what he needs to do here. You still, as a pitcher, even though you have all those runs, you have to think it's still a nothing ball game. And you have to keep your focus on trying to get one out at a time. Same as you would in a nothing game.
1-1 to Odor. And now 2-1.
Strike to ball ratio is not what we've seen from Santana. Usually it's 2 strikes to every ball thrown out of 3, but 64 pitches, now 65 pitches, 37 strikes, 28 balls.
And he's run the count to 3-1 to Rougned Odor. And time call. Pitch count still good for Santana at 65. He's gotten 12 outs and now a full count.
Well, in today's game, what you look for as a one of your starters, your ace, your leader, give me 200+ innings.
Popped up out of play.
And Santana's done that 5 times in his career where he's worked 200 or more innings in a season. He's come close a couple other years. Maybe a start away from doing that. So he's basically been a good innings eater as a starter.
Dozier scoops, waits for Mauer, 1 away. And it'll bring up Elvis Andrus. The Twins have people a lot smarter than me making these decisions, but whenever Jose Barrios comes up here, as he did last year, You might imagine him shadowing Irvin Santana, because in addition to being a really good pitcher every 5th day, he'd be the ideal mentor for someone like Barrios, who has all the physical tools in the world, but just needs to put things together in terms of his preparation. And you've talked about it many times, how you were blessed when you came up to have some veteran pitchers who'd already had some success kind of show you the ropes and how to do things.
Yeah, Jim Perry, Jim Cott, Louis Tion, Dave Boswell, so many great players. Stan Williams, Ron Peronowski. I was very, very fortunate.
Two strikes to Andres.
Kyle Gibson right there. It's been a struggle for him. Very important whenever he starts again. Very, very important for Kyle to have a good start.
I think the assumption is that he's reached a crossroads in his career.
Yep.
And I think Kyle's smart enough to realize that. 1-2.
Well, he needs to get back to be the Kyle Gibson that was a #1 pick by the Twins. Sinker, slider, attack the strike zone. He's gotten away from that. And as soon as he starts doing that again, hopefully the success will come that he had a couple years ago. But you watch Santana, you know, I mean, establish a fastball, mix in your secondary pitches, but again, get ahead with the fastball by keeping it down in the zone like that.
No swing, so Castro doesn't have to scramble after strike 3.
That might have been the slider right there at 84, 85.
Yeah, we'll ask Irvin, because he's always very agreeable to being asked about things like this, but it seemed like he was struggling with his breaking ball. And when the bases were empty and when he had a little more freedom to do that, he was working on the breaking ball to try to get a better feel for it. And now he strikes out Andres with one of those breaking balls. Did you find yourself doing that at all?
You know what I learned early on by watching Jim Perry, Jim Cott, Gaylord Perry, when I worked here in Texas, pitched here in Texas. He took something off that changeup right there and picks up his 4th strikeout. But there are times to work on a pitch when, say, it's not working. If I didn't have a good curveball, but I would get ahead with the fastball, maybe have a 1-2 count, so I can work on it right there.
And Gallo lifts one deep and gone. He hit one off to almost the same spot a few days ago. And a tape measure job down the right field line, and the Rangers are on the board.
Well, home run number 7 on the year for Joey Gallo. He jumped on that first pitch. Twins have been trying to pitch him hard in last night's ball game, and even early in his earlier at bat that he struck out against Santana. But here, ball down. You saw that Castro wanted that ball up, and that strong swing of Gallo. It's a line drive home run.
Well, that one landed in front of the Cheeto stand there. The one he hit a few days ago went over that concession stand.
That is only the 3rd run that Santana has allowed. Gave up a home run to Mike Moustakas. And a home run there. That's it.
It's to left center field.
That's hanging in
and Rosario sprints in to make the catch. Rangers are on the board, but the Twins still lead by 7. power and Joey Gallo's power. Exit velocity, the average exit velocity when Sano makes contact, 101.1 miles per hour, and Gallo right behind him. The exit velocity on Gallo's home run, 109 miles per hour. And I know you're dying to know this, a 29-degree launch angle. It peaked at 77 feet high and ended up 424 feet from home plate. And it only counted one. Here's Mauer leading off the 6th.
And Anthony Bass still out there to start the 6th inning.
Mauer takes down and away, ball 1. Mauer with a single and a double. The single was pulled to right center field. The double was pulled toward the right field corner. You can see the Texas outfield unimpressed. Still has Mauer shifted toward left field, although Mazzara might be a step or two toward the foul line from where he was the last time up. He can hit a liner over the second base umpire's head. He might have an inside the park home run. Now 3-0. This has been a dreadful game for the Texas pitching staff. Cashner escaped trouble in every inning because he walked a whole bunch of people, 6 of them, and none of the 6 hitters who walked scored.
Yeah, he was like Houdini out there.
There's a strike, 3-1.
Yeah, finally Vargas, hit the home run and then got out of that inning. And then Sano's led off the 5th inning with that home run. They removed him, and Anthony Bass, he's not helped at all.
Mauer takes strike 2. Andrus springs and throws. Good play. Sliding to his backhand side. A pretty well hit ball, but Andrus turned it into an out.
Yeah, he's been busy up the middle. That time he had to go to his right, get that little backhanded play, and get Mauer out at first base. Nice defensive play.
Polanco will bat. An RBI double last inning. One strike. And now a ball. It's hit to the gap in left center field. Rua is there to catch the liner for out number 2. That'll bring up Jason Castro. If you think you've got this game figured out, it won't take long and you'll be humbled. Twins are playing really good baseball and they come home and they have a very disappointing homestand. No series more disappointing, I don't think, than the Tigers series, because the Tigers were really struggling in St. Petersburg. Twins won the opener, and then the Tigers pretty much ate their lunch on Saturday and Sunday. The Rangers on a bit of a roll as the Twins arrived in town. Twins won a nail biter last night and appear to be on their way to another win here tonight. The Rangers don't look very good. They looked awfully good against the Royals over the weekend.
Well, Dick, you know what? I mean, what you want to do is stay right around 500. With a win here tonight, Twins able to get that, they'll be back at 500. So you're going to have that roller coaster ride throughout the summer. It's just a matter of if you're going to hit a little spell, you hope to have a good spell to follow.
I think that'll be the test of this Twins team this year, to shorten the bad spells.
Right.
Last year, the infamous 9-game losing streak to start the year, but then in August, after they played really well in July, a 13-gamer. Twins go down 1-2-3 in the 6th. You're watching Twins baseball presented by State Farm. Some Twins fans here are Pepsi fans of the game, enjoying the proceedings to say the least. Twins with a 7-run 5th inning have an 8-1 lead. And Irvin Santana is out there hoping to have a quick bottom of the 6th inning. Drilled. Fair down the line. And Rua's trying for 2. Not a good idea. My goodness. Down by 7 runs. A very poor decision by Ryan Rua.
Well, a heck of a play by Rosario, because that ball was hit and it was called fair, so it took him a little while to get going, but the carom went back toward left field, and Rua, I think, thinking that Rosario was going into the corner. Instead, Rosario made a nice play, good reaction. Ball hit fair, and you see the carom right there. Rosario gets it as momentum taking him there and showing off that cannon he has for an arm right to Brian Dozier. Nice play by Rosario.
Thought just occurred to me. Could the Rangers now challenge that ball was foul? They got the benefit of the call. It was ruled fair. And boy, it was right on the line, if that. And if an out is eventually recorded, can Jeff Bannister say, no, wait a minute, we want to see if we can get that call reversed.
Well, wait a minute. Rua's 3 for 27. He wants that hit, even though he was thrown out at second base.
Good point. Two strikes now to Shin-Soo Choo. It's the third out the Rangers have made on the bases. Choo was thrown out at third on a pitch in the dirt. Gomez was thrown out at second on a pitch in the dirt. And now Rua, thinking double, is thrown out handily by Rosario. Just missed inside. 2-2. And in the dirt, Santana looks off in the distance in disgust.
Oh, what's amazing is if you watch Irvin's reaction, sometimes it doesn't look like he's happy with the stuff he has, but you look at the scoreboard, he's only given up 1 run in 5 innings.
4 hits.
And his second walk.
And Choo ends up drawing a walk.
Well, you know, pitching's, and when you're a pitcher, you have to make adjustments. And I think we saw Santana early on struggle with that slider down and in, the changeup. But he went back to the old reliable, and that's the fastball to get ahead. And then all of a sudden he found it. He kind of found that slider again, and the off-speed pitches, secondary pitches. But again, we can show you all the breaking balls he throws, but he gets ahead with the fastball.
There's Gomez with a runner at first and 1 away. 1 strike.
Now, he started Gomez off with a breaking ball right there. Why? Because Gomez is a notorious first ball fastball hitter. This guy wants to go up and swing the bat. He's our version of their version of Eddie Rosario. He wants to swing. Doesn't walk a lot.
Gomez tried to hit it where Sano hit his.
See, that ball is above his letters right there, and he's swinging out of his.
Yes.
Yes.
Two strikes to Gomez.
Now will he chase?
Lifted down the right field line. And Kepler and Mauer watch it go back in the seats.
One thing Gomez brings with him is a lot of energy. We saw that in Minnesota, you know, back in 2008, 2009, when he came over from the Mets. Had some good years with the Brewers, then traded over to Houston. Had a frustrating year last year and then traded over here and played pretty well for him. Kind of rejuvenated him, I think, a little bit with his personality and his.
Fouled off a leg. needing a little time to get back in the box.
There he
swing,
chased,
but he went.
Remember, I mentioned last night with Gomez up, he'll chase that breaking ball. He's going to strike out, but Santana picks up his fifth strikeout, excuse me. But there's that slider, and Gomez unable to hold up. Very aggressive swinger.
Two down, and now Mazzara. Another chopper foul.
.90 pitches for Ervin Santana, 56 strikes, couple walks, 5 strikeouts, giving up only 4 hits.
Twins have some off days coming up, including one on Thursday and another one the following Monday. Whether that would factor into Santana having a higher pitch count, maybe asking him to pitch an extra inning.
You know, we had that rain out in Minnesota. Who was that against?
Cleveland.
Cleveland, but they brought Ervin back.
Yeah.
You know,
keep him on turn.
Keep him on that 5th day. And I think that's important for a guy like this. Is your #1 guy. You want to get him back on the mound as quick as possible.
And now for the Jeep road ahead, we look at the schedule for the Twins. You see the off day on the 27th and again on May 1st. So you can do the math. If the Twins keep the 5-man rotation, Santana would actually have some extra days and go Tuesday. So maybe the best bet is he pitch the finale in Kansas City. And if that's the case, then maybe a real good chance he'd be done after this 6th inning. 2-1.
Oh, remember Phil Hughes last night? What did he throw? 80.
Right.
86 pitches in 6 innings. And the bullpen pitched 3 shutout innings.
Twins called up Nick Tepish, who'd been starting in Rochester, but he was providing some relief help. There's a ball hit to right, and Kepler on the edge of the track squeezes it. If Santana's done after 6 innings, we didn't think it'd be possible, but his ERA will go down tonight. For the Twins.
Well, I tell you what, Vargas finally in the 4th inning made a 0-0 ball game, a 1-0 Twins lead, and then Miguel Sano, my goodness, a rocket starting off the bottom of the top of the 5th inning. Then the Twins added 4 straight hits and added another one later to score 7 runs, 6 earned runs. Plenty of run support for Irvin Santana, who's pitched 6 very good innings again. Only 1 run allowed, the home run to Gallo, Joey Gallo.
Kenny Vargas will lead things off. He started the scoring with the 1-out home run in the 4th inning. Also added a single and a run scored in the 5th. Delino to Shields, replacing Gomez at center. Vargas takes a strike that covers the inside corner. Vargas, Rosario, and Buxton, Twins with 11 hits. They have taken 6 walks here tonight. And now 1-1. Houston beat Cleveland. The Indians fall back to 10-9. Twins hoping to win and go 10-10. Tigers had better win tonight. They're leading 18-7 in the 8th inning.
You love those pitchers' duels.
They've got some bullpen issues, but I bet they win that game anyway. Kansas City's losing again. They did score 2 runs, but they're behind 6-2. Royals, I think this will be the 9th game in a row, unless they score another run. The 9th game in a row where they've scored 2 or fewer runs.
Yeah, they came in today's play hitting just 199 as a ball club.
1-2 to Vargas. You know, and a challenge here for Vargas, who's been up and down and up and down, and now he's up. Again, yesterday, Paul Molitor was asked whether this is the opportunity for Vargas and the Twins to figure out whether he can get it done up here. High pop up short left. And eventually Rua makes the catch. You can join Fox Sports North at the next viewing party tomorrow, beginning at 6:30 p.m. at Willie McCoy's in Bloomington. Watch Minnesota take on Texas. Enjoy specials, prizes, and more. Visit foxsportsnorth.com/events for details. Here's Rosario. A double, a line out. And then he reached on an error. Charge to Andres. Another one popped up. This one will reach the seats. 1 strike. Some other baseball news. Looks like the Marlins are going to have an ownership change. And it looks like the principals will be former Florida Governor Jeb Bush and former Yankee Derek Jeter.
That rumor's been out there for a while, but they're getting closer and closer to a settlement.
Would still have to be approved by Major League Baseball, of course. Their next meetings are in May sometime. 1-1 to Rosario. And a roller into center field. That wasn't a 7-hopper. That one rolled from the time Rosario put it on the ground.
Rosario continues to swing a hot bat right off the end of the bat, it looked like, but with the shift, Odor playing closer to the first baseline. A lot of room up the middle. Rosario gets his 2nd hit.
And now Buxton, who's been on base all 3 times, a 2nd inning walk, a single to left in the 4th, and a single to right center in the 5th. Fastball down and away, a strike. Buxton scored a run, driven in a run tonight. Strike 2.
Oh, and Buxton got the RBI single in the 5th inning. That's exactly what, hitting coach James Ralston is working on, hitting the ball up the middle. That was a good at bat.
Roy Smalley did a superb job of the pregame show, talking about Buxton and what he's been doing wrong, how he's hoping to correct it. And again, from what I saw, the tee work they were doing on Sunday, and Torrey Hunter was a part of it, Paul Molitor was a part of it, putting the tee literally on the plate and making the point of contact farther back instead of Buxton trying to make contact 18 inches and now drive to right field, and Chu makes the catch. Drop the ball, and they're calling a catch first, and Buxton with another encouraging at bat, hitting the ball hard to the right field corner. Mazara credited for the catch. He took 2 pitches down and away and got another one out there and reacted.
And that's what they want to see right there. Just take that ball the other way. That's a pitcher's pitch, but he hit it sharply. Mazara getting that ball. He's going to throw it back in. Just dropped it.
And now Dozier. Strike 1. One of the things that's been missing, of course, with Buxton as the slump continued, confidence. And this should be a confidence boosting night for Byron Buxton. Driven to Odor. And some very well hit balls in a scoreless 7th inning.
They can have an 8-1 lead in this copyrighted telecast presented by authority of the Minnesota Twins and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. Any accounts or descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Minnesota Twins.
LLC.
Yeah. You said it.
Well, the Twins have had some fun, and Irvin Santana hopes to have one more inning worth of fun. He's out there to pitch in the 7th inning.
Santana with 93 pitches, 57 strikes.
Pitch through the middle of the Texas lineup, Napoli, Odor, and Andres. And I had somebody on Twitter very politely, and I appreciate that, chide me a little bit. Wasn't even chide, just correcting me that Santana's ERA right now is higher than it was at the start of the game because he has given up a run, and I appreciate that. Politeness on Twitter is always appreciated.
Yeah, right now his ERA is 0.79,
which is substantially higher than his 0.69. Sano with a leap, and Napoli carries his bat to the dugout, one away.
Well, Napoli hit it sharply, but Sano right there able to bring it down.
My apologies to Mrs. Clatterbuck, my 5th grade teacher. I would imagine it's about in the 5th grade where I should have learned how to figure out ERA and multiplying and dividing and all that. So I don't think Mrs. Clatterbuck is with us anymore, but I brought her shame tonight, and I'm sorry.
Oh, don't worry, it's not the first time.
Oh, I've done a lot of shameful things.
Hey, you don't want to. And I thought about this last inning with Santana. We've had some good defensive plays behind him. He hasn't had a pitch inning where he's thrown over 20 pitches. He gets the ball, he's ready to throw. You're going to have better defense behind you. And every pitcher should watch a guy that has pitching well like Santana. What's he had? 18, I think, is the highest in the 4th inning. That's it. No fooling around out there. Get back on that pitching rubber. Sano made a great play. Everybody's, into the game. I don't care what the score is. It's 8-1. Nice, comfortable lead. But Santana doing his job.
Yeah, check swing and no swing. That's what I enjoyed so much about the game last night. It was a 3-2 game. It was well played by both teams. But you look at everybody who played for the Twins, everybody who was in the lineup, pitch, whatever, everybody contributed to that win. Either through some fielding plays, some scoreless innings. Phil Hughes kept the damage to a minimum. Pitch number 100 coming for Santana. That time he went, I think.
Yes, he did. And Santana picks up his 6th strikeout, getting Odor for the 2nd time in the ball game.
May 16th is Scrubs Night at Target Field. A limited number of Scrubs Night theme night ticket packages are available that include a game ticket and a Twins scrub top. You can go to twinsbaseball.com/scrubs to learn more about the Scrubs Night theme night offer.
And Irvin, one of those guys too that you can say, here, maybe Phil Hughes last night, his arm's still coming back. 86 pitches was good, 6 good innings out of Phil, but 113 pitches in his last start 5 days ago. And right now, 101 pitches, yeah. Trying to get the final out here in the 7th. One less inning the bullpen has to work, and it might be one of his best innings.
Polanco out, and a 1-2-3-7, plenty
his second
in
of the
tank
game
for Irvin Santana. Seeing Rod at Target Field sometime soon. And a little more than a month, we'll be going to Anaheim. We hope to see him then too.
June 1st through the 4th. 4 game series against the Angels.
Max Kepler to lead off the inning for the Twins. Bass starts him with strike one. Now Bass came into the game and really struggled mightily, but he has won some points in the dugout. Profar in at second base for Odor. And Kepler slashes one toward the gap. A base hit. His first hit of the night, leading off the 8th. That'll bring up Miguel Sano, who tonight has provided our State Farm combination in the field and at the plate.
Yeah, we talk about the power, but what we have seen from the big man over there at third base, very agile and be able to pop up, throw off that great arm that the good Lord gave him, and then also the power that he's given him. 437-foot home run that went at 35 degrees, 131 feet, and 110 miles an hour, if I remember right.
And a base hit to left. Sano with a good night at the plate. He's walked and picked up 3 hits in his last 3 plate appearances. So first and second, nobody out, and Jeff Bannister is going to try to ride it out with Bass. I'm going to say, you know, he's trying to win some points here. And here comes Bannister. It's been a interesting night for Bass, but at least he took the game into the 8th inning. And the Texas manager will come out now. Actually got almost as many outs as the starter Cashner did. And Alex Claudio will pitch next for Texas when we come back.
The best thing I did this offseason was get married to my wonderful wife, Sarah.
Bought a house. That was a pretty adult move of me.
I got inducted to the Florida State League Hall of Fame.
Spend time with my family.
Probably spend time with my family.
Become a dad for the 3rd time.
Welcome our 2nd child with my wife.
Can't beat being a dad, no matter how many times it is.
And Joe will lead off or be the first batter to face Claudio with runners at first and second and nobody out. Mauer with a couple of hits.
Yeah, the bullpen for the Texas Rangers, they have struggled a little bit this year. So far, a combined 4.7 ERA. That's 12th in the American League. But Claudio's done a good job out of there, making his 9th relief appearance, 8 innings pitched. Not allowed a run, couple walks, 3 strikeouts, not overpowering, sidearm delivery.
Down and in ball 1. Mauer's hits have come to the right half of the field, to right center and toward the right field corner. First and second, nobody out. He's already with 8 runs on the board, 7 of them coming in the 5th inning. Tapper right side. And they'll get 1 and not 2. Mauer reaching on a fielder's choice. Sano forced at second base. And that'll bring up Polanco. An RBI double and a run scored, also a walk. Polanco now will hit, of course, right-handed.
Polanco's a right-hander hitting .360. His home run coming from this side of the plate. Coming in Chicago against Jose Quintana.
Fastball inside. Ryan Presley getting loose. He's been out there for a while. Good chance for him to maybe even pitch 2 innings. Try to get settled in a little bit. Tough homestand for him. 5-4. Out. I think the Twins may challenge that. That didn't even look close. As it is right now, an inning-ending double play, and the run didn't score. But if the Twins challenge it, they I don't think are going to. With Paul Molitor's disappeared, well, he's said he may intend on challenging it.
Let's take a look right here. Watch Napoli, right foot on the bag.
Oh, he's out. Good call. Twins won't challenge, and we head to the bottom of the 8th. Thank you, Tom. It has been fun to watch. Their best offensive game of the year. Ryan Presley will come into the ball game in the 8th. He'll face Joey Gallo, Jonathan Lucroy, and Ryan Rua.
Yeah, every outing's important, but for Ryan Presley, who's really been struggling as of late, needs a good outing here. Very high ERA, 8 runs allowed in 6 2/3 innings pitched.
Giving up a home run in each of his last 3 outings, all of those at Target Field.
I heard Tom talk about, Santana. You look at Santana, could he be, right now, he's got to be the pitcher of the month in the American League.
Yeah.
And the last one to win an award like that, pitcher of the month, you have to go back to 2010 in April when Francisco Liriano won it. So it's been a long time.
There's a chance that Santana might have one more start here. Here's a ground ball to second. Dozier gobbles it up. But the Twins appear to be headed for their 10th win. It would be Santana's 4th win. And of the 10 wins, 9 of them have been registered by the Twins starting pitcher. Now, if it seems like a high number, you may remember last year, as much as we'd like to forget about it, Twins starters last year, now granted the team only won 59 ball games, but 11 different pitchers started for the Twins last year. 11. And they combined for 36 wins all year long. And we're 5 outs away from the Twins starting staff getting 9 wins here in the first 3 weeks and change. Santiago's been outstanding. Santana's been great. We've seen encouraging signs from Phil Hughes.
Yeah, we'll see Hector Santiago tomorrow night here.
To center, and Buxton trots over, calls for it, and a couple of quick outs for Presley.
Well, Ryan grew up here in Texas area, so kind of making an appearance here in front of family and friends. There's the matchup tomorrow. Cole Hamels off to a good start.
Twins knocked Hamels out early last year here. And we'll see if they can do that again tomorrow. Hector Santiago has been really good for the Twins. And it would appear that the Twins will be in position to sweep the Rangers tomorrow if they can finish this win off here. It's a great setting for Presley to try to stabilize things. Paul Molitor, talking of Presley yesterday, said that he tends to still get a little overexcited, tries to throw the ball too hard, snap off a better breaking ball, and basically trying too hard.
Well, he's got a good fastball, but he's in that point now that he has to show that he can get that secondary pitch over, and I think that's what he's not been able to do. So they're sitting on the fastball, and that's why he's allowed the home runs as of late. So this is a situation right here. He'd like to maybe throw a breaking ball, set the sights up a little bit higher.
Fouled off of Castro's
that
mask.
was a breaking ball right there, but stayed up. But these are situations right here, and I mentioned it earlier, Dick. 1 ball, 2 strikes. If you want to work on something, do it right here. You got a pitch to waste right here to work on something, and it might get you a strikeout. He's having trouble with the secondary pitch, so throw it right here.
Call his fastball away.
Fastball away.
And that one got the mask of home plate umpire Chad Fairchild. 1 foul ball got Castro. The next one got the home plate umpire.
That's a good fastball in the upper 90s, but you can see where the location was, and that's how he's been hurt.
Fox Tracks presented by Carrier.
Because his fastball doesn't have a lot of movement. You can throw 97. We just had Pudge Rodriguez. We're talking about Nolan Ryan. He mentioned Nolan's good fastball, but he also had a pretty good 2-seam sinker.
And a curveball that snapped.
Yes, he did. When he was on, and usually against the Twins he was, he always struck out 15, 17 guys. See, that's a slider. That's the breaking ball, but you can see how his arm was way out. Got to shorten it up. Keep that left shoulder in.
2-2.
And snap it like that.
There
Just
it
like
is.
that.
Well, a good 8th inning for Ryan Presley. He throws some good pitches and gets off the mound with just a handful of pitches and enjoys a 1-2-3 inning. You're watching Twins baseball presented by State Farm. wonderful game here tonight, both in the field, at the plate, with 3 hits.
Yeah, Justin Haley on a disabled is telling me yesterday his shoulder's starting to feel a little bit better. Put on a disabled list with some shoulder tendonitis.
Been a fun night for the Twins. We didn't see many smiles in the dugout through the homestand, but after a nail-biting win last night, a little more relaxed atmosphere. And the Twins are 1 inning away from getting back to the 500 mark. Jason Castro will lead off the 9th for the Twins against Claudio.
Yeah, Claudio came in and shut the door, got the Mauer to ground out, and then Polanco to ground out into a double play. Only 2 batters he faced. He got 3 outs.
Jeff Bannister hoping to get through this game with just 3 pitchers used. His starter wasn't very good tonight. Cashner all over the place. Pitched into the 5th inning. Outside 1-1. Big swing and a miss. 1-2. Craig Breslow warming up. He may get the 9th inning. Dribbler to the right side. Profar throws him out. 1 down. And we'll bring up Vargas. Vargas is here because the Twins decided to go back to 12 pitchers. Vargas has had an impact in this game with 2 hits, 2 runs scored. The first run of the game scoring on his home run. So the Twins making the decision they would like to have 1 more bench player with the off day Thursday, another off day on Monday. And then, of course, as these things usually happen, they make that decision and get back-to-back really short starts where the starter doesn't give them 3 innings. So then you're in a bit of a pinch with your bullpen overworked. That's a foul ball. But today and last night too, with Hughes going 6 innings. So far here in Texas, it's been a wonderful series to help right the bullpen and let them get a little bit of a break.
Well, you know, Buddy Boshears came in at home against the Tigers, did a good job. He got shipped down, and then Nick Tepish, you know, gets the call up. And I think we're going to see a lot of that this year. You know, guys coming up and in and out.
Rosario with a couple of hits. He'll get one. It's Danny Santana, I beg your pardon, is going to get an at bat for Rosario.
Well, Claudio with all kinds of assortment of pitches. A breaking ball right there at 72 miles an hour, and Vargas strikes out. First time he struck out tonight. Claudio picking up his first strikeout.
And now a chopper to second. Profar waits. Santana gone on 1 pitch. And we head to the bottom of the 9th with the Twins comfortably in front. Last year, the Twins pummeled the Rangers in a 4-game series here, winning 3 of the games, and tonight more of the same. Craig Breslow will come into the ball game for the 8th time.
Yeah, 36-year-old Breslow making his 8th appearance. 5 1/3 innings so far. He's given up a couple runs, a couple walks, 4 strikeouts. Kind of changing. We just saw Claudio for the Rangers trying to throw that sidearm, which he's done, but that's what Breslow's trying to do. Escobar taking over for Dozier at second base. And Danny Santana, who pinched hit for Rosario, will take over for him in left field.
Miguel Sano with a long home run, just the 21st ball to land up there in this ballpark. One of 3 hits for Sano. And now the Rangers will hit. Shin-Soo Choo will lead off the 9th inning. Breslow working way over on the third base side of the pitching rubber. The first pitch dribbled up the line.
See, and I'm maybe from the old school. I don't quite understand why he would be on this side of the pitching rubber. When you have a left-hander up, you would think you'd want to be on the other side because it creates more of an angle, especially if you're throwing that sidearm delivery.
Well, there are probably a lot of things that Craig Breslow understands that you or I don't understand. He went to Yale.
I don't care where he went. I went to the school of pitching. I know my geometry, gosh darn it. He may be smarter than me, but I know what 2 + 2 is, and planes and angles.
Well, I guess I don't remember Craig in his other appearances pitching way over on the end of the rubber.
He's been there. You know why they say they pitch over there? Because they want to hit what's called the 4 spot, meaning the pitch down and away. They say it's easier.
Okay.
Now he's trying to hit the 4 spot right there, and I think he hit the 8 spot, which is way away. I don't understand why pitchers. I mean, he should be over on this side, right there.
But with both a righty and a lefty up there, or?
Well, you can kind of do what Duffy's doing.
Hit to the only infielder over there, and it's Polanco. Mauer had to pull his foot. Polanco will get charged with an error.
Yeah, Joe thinks that he kept that foot on the bag. He wants Paul Mauer to look at it. Of course, Joe at 6'5", and he can reach up probably another 3 or 4 feet. So he thinks his foot was left on the bag.
David Rackley, the first base umpire, thought he saw some space between Mauer's toe and the base. And they're going to challenge it. And Rackley will come in along with third base umpire Alfonso Marquez. So let's take a look.
Take another look right there. Polanco nicely in the glove, sets and throws high, and Joe reaches up.
Oh, his foot did come off the bag, and Mauer's contention was he got it back on, but it's very close. What's at stake is a Polanco error here, and the leadoff man getting on. Let's watch Joe's foot to see whether it gets back on the bag before Choo's foot.
Yeah, it looks like it is.
It looked like it did, only because Choo kind of went heel toe on the bag.
Well, players wear spikes too, which are about what, 1/2 inch. So that 1/2 inch
wouldn't surprise me if this is not overturned, though. You would think Joe would ultimately know, because he knows when his foot was on the bag, and he felt the impact of Choo's foot, and they call him out. So no error to Polanco. Choo is retired, and there's the first out of the inning.
Yep. I think it's a spike right there. A little spike, 1/2 inch. Yep. Got it.
You're just showing off now. You're talking angles and geometry
and then
half-inch spikes.
I know my half inches.
We will move on. Carlos Gomez was the scheduled batter. And now DeShields will hit. Shields entered the game defensively for Gomez. And we don't know whether it's just a substitution or whether Gomez fouled the ball off his front foot in his 6th inning at bat before striking out.
Oh, this is a young man right there. Of course, his father was a great player for many years. I think the Rangers want to find out what this young man can do.
That's, you know, what's interesting though. I mean, it's amazing here, this Ranger team, division champs the last 2 years. And you have a couple injuries. Or in their case, maybe just one big injury, Beltre being out of the lineup, and how it's changed everything. They want to take a look at Gallo, but now third base is open. Gallo's played okay over there, so he's there. But the outfield, you know, Mazara's off to a good start. Gomez is slow. You know, Astros pretty much gave up on Gomez, getting no production at all from left field. So this Ranger team that's been really, really good is still trying to settle some things.
Well, a couple of years ago, I think they felt that DeShields was maybe the future young player coming up, but last year he hit only .209 in 74 ball games. Hit .261 in his rookie season.
I mean, it happens elsewhere where someone steps up and has a good first year, and then the second year isn't as good.
Well, pitchers learn a little bit about him, maybe pitch him a little differently. Now he has to make the adjustment. It's a back and forth.
3-2 to DeShields. And that skips off the bag.
DeShields and his speed would, I think, beat it out anyway.
Well, that ball from up here looked like the second or third hop hit right on top of the bag and then kicked awkwardly to Sano. Should be a base hit.
Yeah, kind of a swinging bunt right down that third baseline. You see the bag. Yeah, it skipped off the bag. And Sano did keep it in front of him and kept DeShields with the infield base hit at first base.
So the overturned call significant now because DeShields follows with a base hit. There's one out in the inning, and Mazzaro will hit. Strike called. The Rangers have not yet had one at bat with a man in scoring position. They got their run with the 2-out home run by Gallo in the 5th. They've made 2 outs at second base. See if they can get 2. Escobar to Sano, and they'll only get 1. Kind of a treat for Sano, who of course was signed as a shortstop. Hasn't had a chance to be the pivot man on a double play attempt before, but Mazzara beat it out 2 down.
They had a little trouble getting that ball out, but they do get the first out, and that's the most important. And that being DeShields, so 2 outs now.
And now Napoli. And a strike. Just to clarify, in the first inning, the Rangers had Chu at second base with 1 out, but during Mazzara's at bat before he made the 3rd out, Chu was thrown out trying to advance. So technically, Mazzara's at bat was not with a man in scoring position. 1-1 to Napoli. Chopper up the middle. Polanco scoops and fires, and the Twins have won the first 2 games here in Arlington, Texas. Got another wonderful start from Irvin Santana.
Yes, they did. A very clean game for the Twins. They opened it up in that 7-run 5th inning, but Irvin Santana kept the defense awake. He tacked the strike zone.
See that open play?
And all in all, a great night for the Twins.
Even though Irvin Santana's ERA went up, Tom Hanneman.
Coño, no le interesa me la mano.